evening, a full-on strike today by 55,000 support workers in the education system, and they vow their walkout will continue indefinitely. Thousands came right here to Queen's Park today to send the Ford government a strong message.
Today is an amazing day for workers' rights, for people's rights, and for us to show what democracy actually looks like.
It is an unprecedented battle.
The ayes being 74, the nays being 30, I declare the motion carried.
Last night, the Ford government passed legislation that imposes a contract on education support workers. They are the caretakers, education assistants, and librarians in schools, the lowest paid in the system. To ensure they can't fight the contract in court, the bill invokes the notwithstanding clause and overrides parts of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
They're trying to intimidate workers. They're trying to strip people of their constitutionally protected rights. I couldn't be more proud that it is our members, who are mainly women, 60% of them laid off every summer. It is these workers who finally said no.
Earlier this week, the Prime Minister criticized the Ford government's use of the notwithstanding clause, calling it wrong. Today, he went further.
The federal government is looking at all options, but it's also a moment for ordinary Canadians to stand up and say no to suspension of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, to suspension of their most fundamental rights.
But the Ford government is pushing forward. It filed this unlawful strike application with the Labour Relations Board, seeking a cease and desist order against CUPE and its leaders, Fred Hahn and Laura Walton. The hearing began this afternoon and could go on for hours.
No justice! No peace!
The question is, how long can the union sustain this? It's facing fines of up to $500,000 a day and $4,000 a day per worker. Unifor, one of the biggest unions in the country that represents auto workers, today announced it was donating $100,000 to help CUPE. And no offense, but $100,000 isn't going to go very far.
It's a start, and by the way, there's all kinds of other actions that are going to be required here today, tomorrow, next week.
What action?
All of us are in this together. Workers' actions all over the province, all over the country. That's where this is headed. It's that kind of a moment for the labor movement right now.
Are we going back to the Mike Harris days?
Or worse.
The union says workers will stay off the job indefinitely unless the government repeals the controversial legislation. The government says it won't return to the bargaining table until the union withdraws its strike mandate. They're not going to repeal Bill 28. You're not going to repeal this or stop this. So this is a good old standoff then. I mean, there's no budging here.
Doug Ford has the ability to repeal a bill.
CityNews asked Education Minister Stephen Lecce for an interview today. He was not made available, but he did put a statement out saying what we've been hearing him say all week, that the government will use every tool available to keep kids in class. Now, I was speaking to union leaders just a short time ago, CUPE leaders who were out here. They're trying to get an even bigger turnout on Monday.